it's clear, especially David, you sounded a little, I don't know if upset is it'd be hard to make you upset at this point, I would think, but that the second place car would be less than 50 yards behind you after a 24-hour race, and the talk is we don't have enough power. Does that?
You just hit the nail on the head.
You know.
Enough said, right?
All right, but so my next question is.
Thank you.
Can you talk?
And they lifted, by the way, at the end. So the gap would have been, if he just stayed in it, he would have been a lot closer. The 5 car lengths that he was before.
I work for the newspaper in Jacksonville. What does this mean to Brumos?
There were a lot of tears out there. Harris Snodgrass was in victory lane. You know, Bob Snodgrass, our late boss, and he was kind of Brumos, and the passion and spirit behind Brumos, passed away 2 years ago, and we had kind of an ongoing thing with him at the Rolex 24 in particular, because it's one of our 2 home tracks, the other being Watkins Glen, since he grew up in Elmira. That if we won this thing, we'd shave his head, and I missed the chance to shave his head. It's kind of a jerks your heart a little bit, but you know, Brumos has a long-standing sports car tradition of success, and like I said before, we've been struggling through years with some equipment issues and organizational, and we just kept sticking to it without dumping people and having a lot of turnover, just getting things organized and prepared properly and getting the right kit together and the right ingredients, and that's how they win races. And you know, the truth is in the result.
The last hour was obviously pretty tough. Can you talk about that? About you know, battling with Juan through the whole hour, and can you describe the pass?
I'm not sure I remember the pass. There was a lot of passing going on in general, and you know, there's no doubt we had good top end, but you really had to know how to use it, and all alone. I have to thank for making the passes I made was Dave Marcus, believe it or not. I did a lot of testing with IROC, and when you run with the IROC test drivers, you're all connected on the same frequency and the same radio. So I can run with Dave and Jim Sauter and Jay Sauter, and you know, the 4 of us are out there talking to each other. And we did a lot of testing here, and you know, those cars are a lot more aero drafting significant than these cars, but the principles still apply. And I used what Dave Marcus told me, or you know, what Dave Marcus yelled at me so much, and that's how I was able to do it. To be honest with you, it wasn't that we could just sit there and drive by. We really had to plan it, and that's why, you know, it wasn't so easy. Juan protected a lot, and I had to really plan it and seize the opportunity when it surfaced.
Again, not to focus entirely on the last stint, but there you were coming sort of, you know, semi-cold, getting in the car, and then just immediately up to speed. I mean, that first lap on the restart, again, as I sort of asked Juan earlier, you know, he's known as being really quick on cold tires and restarts, and yet it looked like you were all over him, and just sort of coming, you know, as coming off the bench to do that. And can you just talk about that? And also finally, there was much talk about the switching to reserve tank at the end and alarms going off and everything, and wondered if you might give us a little insight onto what was going on there on the last lap.
It's nice to know that no one's listening to us, huh? I think the switch to reserve was a precaution more than anything else, because if you get a stumble, you lose a little time. So going to reserve is only 1 lap left. What do you got to lose? We could essentially get a stumble at pit in and still make a lap on reserve. So he told me to go to reserve as I was approaching turn 1. So for sure we were going to make it without any sort of a stumble or hiccup. And the tires were fantastic, but well, no buts about it. They're fantastic, but we're trying really hard and sliding the car sometimes a little bit more than we should. So if you get a stumble when you're got a mistaken big slide going, that could get you all the way around. So I'm sure that's what was on Mike's mind. So as far as the outlap, I mean, I knew we had to get it done. It was all or nothing. This is Rolex 24. It's just, I really didn't care who was driving the car in front of me. All I knew, there was a car in front of me, and we were right there. And maybe I'm not particularly well known for my outlaps. Well, I know I'm not particularly well known for my outlaps, and it just happened to work out that time, I guess.
This is for David or Darren. Do the Ganassi guys have a legitimate gripe when it comes to horsepower, or is it just sour grapes on their part?
Honestly, it's just sour grapes on their part. You know what? We have the smallest motor. We have 2 fewer cylinders than everybody. Porsche just built a good motor, and like David said, we've done our homework. The car is hooked up. It was trimmed out. And as David mentioned, I mean, look, they crossed the line 50 feet behind us. It was a fight the whole way through, you know. Maybe people fail to see, but you watch it in NASCAR all the time. When you're coming up, when you're behind another car, you get a draft and you get a pull. And as you get that pull, you can pop out and get a slingshot around them. So it wasn't like we just motored around the outside, you know.